Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jen and today we're going to go through my 2023 goals. I really enjoy goal setting, but I really am bad at following through and checking in throughout the year to make sure that I'm actually reaching those goals. So a lot of what I'm doing for 2023 is setting yearly goals, and then from there I will set quarterly goals probably, in order to make sure that I am checking in with myself to make sure that I'm making progress on those yearly goals. This video is going to be broken up into two parts. The first is going to be my 2023 reading goals, and then the second part will be my content/channel goals. We're going to start with my 10 reading goals for 2023. The first one is the obvious one, and that is the Goodreads goal. And in 2023, I'm setting this at 75 books. I know in 2022, I read more than 100 books, so 75 feels like a little bit of a downgrade, but there's a reason for all of this. In 2023, I want to read some bigger books. I have, which we will get to later, goals that will require some chunkers. And I honestly don't know how I managed to get to 100 books this year. I don't know how that happened, so I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to hit it again in 2023. Next, we have a goal of reading 30,000 pages. Again, I did surpass this in 2022, but in the similar vein of the number of books read, I do want to read, yes, in theory, if I read smaller number of bigger books, the pages can be about even, but this is just not a goal. 30,000 is the baseline that I am happy with, so adding more to that and adding additional pressure is just not something I'm into this year. This next one is one of my main priorities for the year, and that is to finish 12 series. So this is basically one a month, which I doubt I will actually do in that kind of cadence, but I finished 11 series in 2022, and let's just add one more. I think if I had focused on series the way I'm planning on focusing on series in 2023, I definitely could have gotten that up. But now that it is for sure a 2023 goal to at least hit 12, but I think we may actually surpass that. The other really important goal for 2023 is to read my shelves. And to be more specific, my goal is that my physical TBR is at 175. At this moment, I believe it's like 246, 248, somewhere around there. But I think with focusing on reading what's on my shelf, plus some other stuff that, again, I will talk about in this video, I think we might be able to do it. The real big problem is going to be the books that I'm buying or acquiring. So I am going to be playing TBR Takedown this year in a way that I had not last year. If you do not know what TBR Takedown is, I will be explaining there are actual rules for it in my January TBR, so please subscribe so you can check that out once it's up. But basically I get points for reading books and lose points for buying books, and there's some bonus points and things like that in there. I do want to unhaul more regularly. I still have a bunch of unread YA that I have yet to actually bring myself to get rid of. I have gotten rid of quite a bit, especially over the last month or so, but there's still a ton that I haven't read that I just need to get off my shelves. If I read it, great. If I don't, it needs to go. I need to make room for all of the other things that I have. Right now, my shelves are overflowing. We are double stacked, and my dream, and I know I need another shelf. My goal is always for everything to be single stacked. I want a library, and libraries aren't usually double stacked. So that's my personal want here. So to get rid of things and get us down to 175 by the end of the year. This next one is actually going to contradict everything I just said, and that is to read more from Kindle Unlimited. I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. I don't read a ton from it. If I'm going to pay for it, I need to use it. So my hope is that at some point in the nearest future, we can read 1 or 2 books a month from Kindle Unlimited that will kind of make up for the price the price of the subscription. I tend, with all ebooks, they are on here. And this means unless I'm looking at this, I almost sort of forget that they exist. I either have to be thinking about it specifically because someone brought it up or I saw it online, or it does not exist unless it's on these shelves. It's not, I have I have a spreadsheet of all the physical books that I own, but I am not keeping track of my Kindle books. So the goal is to read a few, at least a couple a month, in order to make up for the subscription. Otherwise, I have to get rid of it. This is another very important goal for me this year, and that is to continue to diversify my reading. I don't have a lot of issues reading any LGBTQIA plus books. I do need to continue to diversify within that, but my real focus on reading is going to be authors of color. My goal is that by the end of the year, at least 25% of the books that I read are by authors of color. I did do a very small increase in 2022 compared to the prior year, and 25% is actually a massive increase, but I own the books, so there's no reason I shouldn't be reading them and supporting them and talking about them. So my hope is that by using this as a goal that I will be tracking against, that it will force me to pick up the books that I should have been picking up in the first place. Next, I would like to learn my romance tastes. In 2022, I officially declared myself a romance reader. Not just a reader who reads romance, but a romance reader. That is the primary genre that I am reading, is the primary genre that I am buying. And still then, I am mostly reading contemporary romance. I am mostly reading things that I'm already familiar with. So my goal for 2023 is to learn my romance tastes. You know, try new authors, try new tropes, try new things that I might look at and say, I don't think I'm going to like that. Is to actually try it at least once and see if maybe I'm wrong. Granted, one book, you know, for one trope is not, you know, enough, but and I don't mind so much of my reading being contemporary, but there's so much more out there and I want to try it out. But I think this will go along great with my Kindle Unlimited goal, because a lot of this stuff is on there. There's so much romance on Kindle Unlimited. So my goal is to figure out what I do like and what I don't like. This one is pretty self-explanatory, and that is to read or unhaul most of my book of the month books. I, over the last year or so, have acquired a lot of them, and I have not read most of them. I am unhauling them as regularly as I can, but there's still maybe 10 of books that I actually want to read. So as part of my Read My Shelf, it is going to be to read those book of the month books or get rid of them. They are, I wouldn't necessarily have taken up a ton of like space on the shelf, but there's a lot there that I either need to just read or get rid of. Next, we have another pretty self-explanatory one, and that is to read more adult fantasy. Specifically, the thing that I'm looking for in 2023 is urban fantasy. And some of this might fall into the paranormal romance space, but basically those are the vibes that I'm looking for. It was the strange thing that Sarah J. Maas did for me in 2022 is to reignite my love for urban fantasy. I was a paranormal romance reader kind of in the beginning of my reading. I was called adult, but I was in like later years of high school reading journey, and I absolutely loved it. But somewhere in there, it all kind of fell away. And reading House of Earth and Blood this year has kind of been like, oh my God, this is a thing that I actually really, really love. So my goal is to read more fantasy. This includes epic fantasy, though. I have a ton of epic fantasy on the shelf behind me that, if you can't tell, is falling over. I'll get it fixed eventually. So I have so much adult fantasy that I would actually like to read it. Again, this all comes back to reading my shelves, but I want to read more adult fantasy. And the last one, I feel like I'm just going to continue to add every year and see what happens, and is to read more classics. I have a goal of 3 for 2023. There are specifically, I own quite a few of them, which is why this goal is continuously on my list. I have acquired them from like Barnes & Noble or just in general because I have interest in them. I just never, ever gravitate towards them. So my goal is to read more of them. I read one this year, mostly because I sort of forced myself in at the end of the year. So the goal will be to read a few of these. There are some ones that I want to prioritize. Things like Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice, I feel like there's another one that I was really into. Some like Edgar Allan Poe. Just because they're things I have interest in. I have never let myself watch a Pride and Prejudice adaptation because I am one of those people who, well, for this reason, for this specifically, will want to read the book first. And I haven't gotten around to reading it or watching it because I haven't read it. And I kind of want to fall into that. Also, I heard Wuthering Heights is angsty. I think a lot of the thing that's going to help me now is kind of my, and this isn't brand new, I think audiobooks are going to help me tremendously here. I tend to not pay as much attention during classics, so having an audiobook that I can kind of multitask with is going to be great to maybe get this done this year. When you break that down into quarterly goals, at least for Q1, it comes down to 20 books, 7,500 pages, TBR of 228, which if I read 20 books is around the right number, and 5 books by BIPOC authors. And I feel like that's totally doable. And I have to finish 3 series. I can do that, right? That is one a month. But again, I don't have to do them all. I can do them all in March if I wanted to and still complete the goal. But that's how I am going to be tracking it. I'm going to be tracking it. How do I break this big yearly goal up into smaller quarterly goals? I will also have monthly goals. I am starting a reading journal in 2023. We'll see how long that lasts in terms of my interest. But I have space in there now for where are you every month with these goals and which books are you reading that satisfy those goals. And for now, at least, I'm being very conscious of what I'm reading and how it pertains to what I want to do for this year. As for content goals or channel goals, I only have 5. I am not making a subscriber count goal. A lot of that has to do with the fact that there are so few of them as there are now. Hi, if you already subscribed to me, I adore you and I appreciate you. If you have not subscribed yet, please consider hitting that button below. I would greatly appreciate it and I would then adore you as well. I definitely want to focus on the content I'm creating and making more friends in this community that I have adored for so long, and have a bunch of people to come on this journey with me who honestly has been an experiment. It's been less than a year. I do feel like this has helped me in the ways that I was hoping it is. I volunteered to speak in public the other day, and didn't stutter through it all. There are things that I am still working on, but there are ways that this has already helped me tremendously. And I'd like to continue just doing that. The first goal is just to be more consistent. I'm going to attempt a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. January is going to be a little messy, sort of, because of kind of the end of the year, beginning of the year content that will be out, hopefully, if I film it. But once that's through, Tuesdays, Thursdays is my goal, because that will give me Sunday to film and then edit a couple of things, and then I can post it throughout the week. My schedule doesn't really allow for a lot of all of that if I want to read as well. I work full-time, more than full-time sometimes. I don't have as much time as I would like to actually film content. I have tons of ideas at the moment, which is great. I just don't have a ton of time to film it. So Tuesdays, Thursdays are my plan. Some things I want to try are more vlogs. They seem to be doing all right. I want to do more vlogs on finishing and completing series. I want to do some things about catching up on authors whose backlist I have not read yet. As I'm trying those romance tropes, let's do a few of them and vlog it. I also want to bring back my trope recommendation videos, especially if I'm trying out new things or trying more of something that I already know I like. I can come to you guys with recommendations and books that are on my TBR, and then we can kind of have a bunch of suggestions for books that we will love, hopefully. Another thing I want to do is have better reviews. I am terrible at explaining what things are about or why I liked things, and a lot of the reason that I wanted to do this was to communicate more about books. So I'm going to create, again, I have a reading journal, and in there's a space. My goal is to focus on I use the Compile rating system to kind of rate books. So my goal is to kind of use that not necessarily as like a C, here's what I thought about characters, A, here's what I thought about the atmosphere, but to be more of like a conscious, okay, the characters, and just kind of have it more stream of conscious, regular conversation than a itemized list. Especially if I'm going to be bringing some of these series and these authors in, you know, these videos to you, I'd like to be able to tell you about them better. And that's something I've constantly struggled with. I do want to be more active in the community. My social awkwardness is still a thing when I'm online. I'm not going to get into it, but I want to try to be more active in the community, to make those friends and you know, to make more bookish friends, and to really feel part of the community rather than kind of someone who's trying to break through. I want to host reading sprints. This is a thing that I am constantly debating with myself about whether I should do. It might not be on a regular basis, but just once or twice, I would like to host some sprints. But again, I'm awkward. And so I have not been able to bring myself to do them yet, or someone else is already doing them and I would rather just kind of lurk. But hopefully sometime in 2023 I can host some of my own. And again, I want to just enjoy the content I'm creating. This was an experiment, but if I'm not having fun with it, there's no point in it. So I want to just make content that I am enjoying, which I've done so far, but I want to continue, but also still make my channel visible. All right, those are all the goals that I have planned for 2023. I'm really excited about all of them. As much as I'm going to enjoy the week I have off between Christmas and New Year, I'm really excited for January to start so that we can start on the goals. Though I may start a little early because I don't have any plans on New Year's. If you have not already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Comment down below and let me know what kind of goals you are setting for 2023. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for those who have come on this journey with me so far this year. I look forward to spending the next year with you. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you have liked it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.